This is the Dreamers Podcast, where dreamers share their stories to inspire you. Now, join host Joe Pardo as he interviews a dreamer who's living their dreams.
You ready?
You should have video. So this way later on you can see me trying to stick cat in your face. It's like, what was that song? I know you're actually recording right now. Ben Folds, Brick. Really pretty song at the end. Everything, you just hear people throwing cymbals. And what the F were you doing there? And you effing messed up there. And it gets very foul now. It's a very pretty song, and that gets very foul very quickly. So I'm eating up time, so.
Welcome to the Dreamers Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pardo, and today I am interviewing Wil Leman.
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 Loman.
Lomain.
Lomain.
Lemurs Lomain.
Who is living his dream by pursuing a new career. Well, welcome to the show, Will.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get started by giving a background about yourself.
Okay. I'm a 28-year-old postal worker from New Jersey, here down the street from you.
Yeah, Jersey.
Jersey boy. And I've been working at the post office for about 10 years now, and finally got the courage to finally want to leave my job and go back to school and pursue a career in computers. I'm an avid musician. I've been playing for about 19 years now. Been in quite a few bands. In fact, in a band with you for a short period.
Yeah, it was a very short period.
Very short period. It was fun. Very short though.
It was fun.
Been playing, like I said, playing music for about 19 years now. It was a big part of my life, and actually pursued a degree in music recording.
Well, you know, Will, I think the world of everything that you do it with such a passion, no matter what it is, whether it's playing hockey, where I've played on teams with you when you only were just getting started playing goalie and really were not good at it.
No, I wasn't.
But, you know, your drive to just jump in and try to do things has always drawn me to you. I'd like to hear what really inspires you.
I'm actually inspired by not having the fear of to jump into something, and you see people all the time like you with this podcast. You don't have a fear that it isn't going to work out. You're confident that no matter what, you're doing what you want to do and it's going to work out for you. That's really, you know, inspiring to me, because like with everything I do, I mean, it was very scary to leave my job and to go back to school. Or even like how we play hockey together, you know. I mean, starting back playing something like that at 23 in a position I've never done before, you know, it's, you know, even something as small as that, it's still a little scary to jump into. But, you know, seeing people again like you who are doing something like this, it's really inspiring to jump in and have that leap of faith and just know that it's all going to work out in the end.
When I started playing hockey, I think you had just started playing goalie at that time.
Yes.
So we kind of grew up together in that sense of our hockey career, you know, amateur careers, roller amateur, yes. Amateur roller hockey careers.
The farm league of the farm leagues.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of your dreams and how they came about. I guess let's start with your love of music. We can go into your job and then into your education.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess with music, it was my parents got me started in 4th grade. They started me on the sax, which, oddly enough, up until then, it was my dream to play the sax. I wanted to be a professional sax player. It was when I first got my first saxophone. It was like I felt like Zelda getting that first sword, like just holding it up above my head. You know, lightning was crashing all around me. It was an epic moment. And then I realized, you know, sax isn't all what I thought it was, and so I started playing guitar right after that, and honestly, playing guitar changed my life. It's for anyone listening who ever wants to play an instrument. Playing an instrument is a life-changing experience. You will never find something that is going to just all inspire you like an instrument, like creating your first song. As bad as it may be, your first song is just, I can still play the very first song I've ever wrote on guitar, and it's awful, but to this day I'll still play it, and it's an amazing thing that you can create like that. And I mean, obviously, you know, by DJing, you know, you, I guess, more recycle, but you dig up stuff and you make it new again, and you know, and I'm sure you can agree, it's one of those things that you know, it'll stick with you for the rest of your life, you know. And I mean, I traveled through music, you know, from guitar to bass to drums to piano, and then went to school for music recording, it was a fun experience. It was, I mean, not that I would ever have a career in it, but it's definitely an experience I would never want to take back. I mean, I was in my classes, I think I had Nick, the singer from Man Overboard, got signed and actually have music careers now, and it's awesome for them. I mean, I'm happy they did it. I'm not sure if it's the career I would want. Back then it was, but I got a job, I guess, at the post office about 10 years ago, and it was a good job. At that age, it was, I was making great money for 18, and I really couldn't have been, happier at the time. And then, I got into a more permanent position, which I thought at the time was what I wanted, and it seemed great. I was young. I was in the post office. I remember having elderly women all the time telling me I'm too young to be a mailman, because 18, fresh out of high school, and it was a good job for me. But I wanted something that would challenge me, and it's the same job day in, day out. There's nothing challenging about it, and I guess I realized about 3 years ago that I really wanted more for myself. That if my high school self saw what I'm doing now, I'd be really, really disappointed in myself. And so about 2 years ago, I joined a band with a guy. His name's Ant Falaska. The second I got in the band, he pulled me aside. He said, "What are you doing? Why aren't you in school? You're ruining your life by not pursuing what you want." Because I would come to practice and tell him, and he would know exactly how upset I was with my position. And I think 2 days later, I signed up for classes. I actually started as an engineering major. I think I was going for a title more than something I enjoy. So I guess a couple semesters later, I switched to computer programming, and I love what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to switch to my 4-year school. Don't know where yet, but soon, very soon. I'm very excited about it, and I really just hope to be able to continue on this type of path and really enjoy what I do in the future.
I remember the night that you told me that you were thinking about going back to school, and I'm like, wow, man, it's a huge risk. And fortunately for you, you started then, because look how far you've come now, even though you still have another 4 years ahead of you. But it's okay, because you're getting married soon. Yes. And she's a very good woman and is willing to take care of your butt.
Yes. I am very, very lucky. I'm engaged to my beautiful fiancée, Jennifer Fratz, and we are getting married in October. And, she already has been there. She already went through the schooling. I think when she first started, she wanted to be a doctor, but she learned later on about a PA program, and she's doing what she enjoys. And now we're finally at a point where she's stable enough that I can finally, I leave the post office and devote my time completely to school. And actually, I only have 2 years left, just so you know.
Oh, 2 years.
2
okay.
years left.
My bad.
Yes.
So how was your dream of being a musician received by your parents?
They've always supported my love of music. Like, I don't think they've ever missed a show that I've ever played. I mean, they've always, anytime we had band practice, it was always open that we could have practice at my parents' house till whatever time at night. They were very, very supportive. I mean, more than I could ever ask for with that. I mean, I think they were more upset when I said that music's just going to be a hobby. I'm not going to try to pursue, getting signed and being that big band. I just want it as a hobby. I want a real job. I think they were definitely upset when I said that.
I gotta say, I know your parents pretty well. I see them at almost every game, and unless it's like an 11 o'clock at night game.
Yeah.
But even then, they did come to a handful of them that I recall with, if they didn't have work the next morning. But how was your dream of pursuing a higher education and challenging yourself? How was that received by them?
Well, they were always very supportive, and they always wanted me to go back to school. When I went to the post office, they were like, "Oh, you should go back to school too." They're not so on board with leaving work and just going to school, because that's not the people they were. They were always, my dad dropped out of high school, and he later got his GED, but he was mostly a, get his hands dirty type of blue-collar worker. And the same for my mom. She did pursue some community college, but, they were both just like, you need to work. This is, is how it is. You need to work. And they were, they're more okay with me working through school, but with working through school, this would be a 10-year degree. And I'm not sure if I can support going to school for that long and then starting a career at 40 as opposed to 32. Like, it's... but it's just a different world than they've always been. They've always been the, your job comes first, and then everything else is not as important.
So you mentioned before how you got started with music with the saxophone, which, by the way, that was my first instrument.
Good choice. I still miss it. I want to get one. I'm going to get one.
It was all about the Bill Clintons of the world.
Absolutely.
Of what you recall, what steps did you take to get started with music? Was there anything special? Or maybe, how about with the guitar? Was there anything other than just picking up and playing?
I guess a big part of it is the teachers that I had. I mean, when I started, it was great to have a guitar, but I guess for the first year or so, I would pick it up once a week, and it would be that thing in the corner of my room that collected dust. I found a couple teachers like at actual music schools, and my parents found a guy who taught out of his garage, out of a like industrial garage in the industrial park here, and it was clicking with that really good teacher. And then after I found that teacher, I guess other friends could see that, and I had other friends who joined up with the same teacher. So I also had other musician friends who we both had the same teacher. We were learning the same things on the same weeks. So I had somebody that, like, as soon as I learned something, I could be like, hey, I learned this, let's play. And so I had something to someone else to always rekindle that fire with me. And, like, you know, we ended up playing in bands together, I think, for another 13 years after that. And, you know, consecutively, like, as soon as he would leave a band, I'd leave, and we'd both find another band together. And, you know, it was almost having a twin that I could always, you know, we spoke our own language, we had our own, you know, we didn't have to speak. We'd be able to look each other or just think. As soon as he would start playing, I would know what he's playing. And it was kind of that, like, you know, this weird symbiotic musical kind of thing that we had together that I think really propelled me into music as far as I got.
Now, when it came time to go to get your higher education together, what steps did you take to get there?
Well, I mean, I started at the local colleges too. I went, you know, to Camden County down the street, and it was definitely scary, like, especially not knowing, like, going back, and it was so long. But I mean, really, it was just a matter of going to the school and talking to them there, and basically going, listen, I'm not even sure what I want to do. I just know that I want to be back. The people at the schools were extremely helpful in getting me back. I guess I got back into the motion of doing everything. It kind of became second nature, and then it was like, it was easy to sit there and be like, okay, I hated this class in high school, but I like it now, or I hated this class in high school and it's still a bad idea for me now, you know? So it was easy to go back and say, okay, I'm not going to be an English major, that's for sure, you know? And my degree now, it was actually an elective of something that I had picked before, and, you know, as soon as I got into my first programming class and realized how much I loved it, it was kind of just fell into place. So I mean, it's more of just getting past saying that you're going to do it and just getting there, enrolling, and getting it in your head that this is my life now, this is what I'm going to do. Because really the hardest part was the first 3 months before I actually registered for classes.
So was there any roadblocks with your music career?
The fact of even saying music career is almost a roadblock in itself, because you put out there this grandiose thing of music career, like, the band's going to get signed, and it's, you know, it's not like it's, you know, it's a less than 1% type thing that you're shooting for. It's like saying, I'm gonna, you know, get rich. I'm gonna win the lottery. That's my job. I'm gonna buy lottery tickets every day, and we're gonna make it. One day we're gonna hit. And, you know, I mean, it's really like you're putting out there this not unachievable dream, but, you know, especially like putting all of your eggs in that basket, like, you know, and saying, oh yeah, well, you know, this is it. It almost limited everything else I did in life, really, because, like I said, music was a life-changing thing. So when I finished high school, it wasn't, you know, what college am I going to go to? It was, where is the band going? Where, you know, and that's the reason I didn't pursue college outside of high school, because at the time, I mean, I was with the same band for 6 years. We were playing the Trocadero regularly. We opened for bands like Valencia, who I guess later, I don't know if they're still doing it, but at the time they were big. You know, I think we got up to headlining main stage at Trocadero, and, you know, and really getting a steady set of shows. So it wasn't like, you know, it was like, hey, I'm going to ride this for a little bit. You know, one of my guitarists was like, well, I'm not going to college. And the drummer was going to Rowan, and everything was right in Glassboro. It seemed like everything was staying. It just, you know, I think I did a couple business classes right out of college, but the band always came first. So the fact of having that music career there, like, if that's what you want to do, it's a great thing to do, but know that you need to have some sort of backup. And at 18, I didn't have any backup. Everything was, it was the band or bust. And sadly, just like most bands, it was bust, which led me getting stuck in the job that I'm in now. So, for a couple more months.
Was there any way to overcome that you've seen?
I think the problem is most people, especially in bands, they get tunnel vision, and they see the $1 million record deals. First of all, they are so like astronomically out of the picture. You are so lucky to get them, and most bands that get them, or musicians, they struggle with like lower level indie labels and then work their way up to those big labels. It's very rare, but it's just knowing that you need something behind you. You know, you need to work through school, or you need to know what you like outside of that. Like if it's what you want to do, and I mean, you know, like you are putting out your album now, and I mean, you're on it every day, and you are working, you know, you are pushing it, and I mean, better than I ever did, you know, I mean, but with that, you also have the money behind that. You know, you have some sort of income to put ahead and say, okay, I need to put this much down to get CDs pressed. And when we're young, we didn't know that. So it was literally like, okay, you got $25, I got $50, you got a couple. Okay, let's get this CD made, and you know, and rush, and you know, and you don't realize that it's like when you record, especially in a band, recording an album takes months of hard work and going in, sitting there, this is a song, and then when you're done, that song is completely different, and you know, and you spent thousands of dollars over what you thought you were going to for that album, and now you're broke, and now you have no money to push that album, you know. So it's like later in life, looking back, I think it'd be easier to do something like that now. But again, out of high school, it's like you're putting all your money into that. You're not focused on having a backup plan or anything like that. And I really wish I would have had a backup plan or focused on school. Not that I knew what I wanted to do back then, but at least I would have had my foot in the door. So when I got there, I would have known what to do.
Well, that leads us right into school. Have you had any roadblocks with schooling?
No, I don't think so. My biggest roadblock was going in. Originally, I went in for a chemical engineering major, and it was mostly for a title. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I was like, well, this title sounds great, you know, engineering sounds impressive, and you know, and I was going for that, and all of my classes were very hard, and you know, I think my program elective was my first elective that I was like, oh my god, this is something I was like, maybe I can do this on the side, and it will, you know, it'll lessen the load of what I'm doing now, but somebody at school stopped me one day and was like, well, what does a chemical engineer do? And after about 45 minutes of trying to figure it out, I realized I have not a clue. So, you know, and I realized I liked the programming courses, so why not do that? But other than that, I actually have had no roadblocks. The only roadblock, I guess, outside of school would be my job is a 6 days a week, 10 hours a day job. I can't really handle more than 2 classes a semester. And with that, I've had to do 2 classes a semester and then classes all throughout the summer over the winter breaks just to try and make up that lost time that I can't really do because of work. So right now is my first extended period off of school in 3 years. Definitely enjoying having a little bit of a break. But other than, I think, work and not knowing what I want to do, really there was no roadblocks with school.
Well, that's good to hear. Any parts of your dream that haven't quite worked out other than not getting signed to that $1 million contract?
So far, no. I mean, with school, everything, you know, especially with the programming side, everything's going really well. I've networked and met a lot of programmers in iPad software development, iPhone development, a little bit of Android development. I have a couple friends who work for like Lockheed Martin and a friend who's developing software for Penn's Cancer Research Institute. You know, so I have a lot of people in the industry who can help me along the way. And I'm not exactly sure what branch of programming I'd want to go into. I just know that, you know, I enjoy that it's a logic, it's a straightforward 1 + 1 = 2, and not like in English, well, the preposition of the verb on, you know, on this side of the semicolon. You know, it's more of a direct science. I'm that kind of straightforward kind of, let me sit at my computer and hammer away at these keys type person. So it works for me.
So let me ask, if you were stranded on a deserted island with your family, what 3 things would you want with you?
Ooh. Actually, you know what? It's going to be hard to pick 3. Not pick only 3, but actually to pick 3. Because really, I only think I would need 2. To be honest, I think I would need just a pad of paper and a mechanical pencil. And I first of all, I just like mechanical pencils because anybody who uses regular pencils, that blows my mind. Yes, sir. Awesome. That's a pen. No, it is a mechanical pencel. It looked like a pen.
I know what my pencils are.
No, you know what? Other than them, I really don't think I would need much of anything. Like, I'm a huge board game person. You know, so I could sit here and in my head think of, okay, what board game would I need to bring? But really, with a pad of paper and a pencil, it's very easy to sit there and make a game of checkers or make a game of chess. Or in fact, any game out there, barring my awful art skills, you could make something to bide your time and write. You know, you can write. I could write music. For me, I don't need an instrument. If I can write down the notes, I can hear it in my head and I can see it and I know exactly how that would plan out. Like, so for me, I mean, a pad of paper and a pencil goes a long way. I guess if I had to bring a third, maybe Jolly Rancher soda, just because it's awesome and you can't find it everywhere.
I think I seen that at ShopRite the other day.
I've only found it at like Big Lots, and it's...
Oh, maybe it was Big Lots.
Oh my God.
I think you're right.
Have you ever had it? It is...
No, I have not.
Sugar through the roof.
I've had their slushy. The Jolly Rancher slushy. They had at Heritage's before.
Oh my God.
I don't think they still do, but...
No. But that would only if I have to pick a third. Other than that, like I said, a pad of paper and a pencil goes a long way.
So, what do your dreams for the future look like?
Well, I mean, after October, to be married and hopefully buy a house with my wife soon. And hopefully I would like to pursue a master's degree in computer programming. I guess my dream, well, not dream school, but I guess where I'm shooting to go soon is Westchester University, which is a NSA-approved computer science program, which is I wouldn't say a shoo-in, but it's more likely to be picked for like FBI, CIA, and stuff like that for jobs, which, I just think it'd be cool to be like, flip open a badge like, Agent Mulder and start my own X-Files. But I'm not sure if I really care where I go in the field. Obviously I'm going to have to start somewhere to get my feet wet, but I'm not too worried about, I guess, where I go afterwards, because I'm really trying to enjoy this part of my life. Being almost 30, going back to school, it almost feels like I missed out on that period of my life, especially when I talk to my fiance and she's like, oh, we did this in college, we did this, and we did this, and we did this. I'm like, yeah, I was working, thanks. So I'm really trying to focus on the here and now and worry about later. However, I do plan to get my master's in computer science and pursue, I guess, I would like a job in the field, but I'm hoping that I will, at least when I'm out, I will still like it enough to be able to do stuff on the side for myself. Now I have a project going where I'm making computerized instructions for board games. For people who aren't into board games, some of the actual board games are extremely rule heavy and 56-page rule books, and it's hard to go through and learn while having to flip through and, that was back on page 34, or that was back on here. So I'm developing a program where it's basically just hit setup. It tells you, anything that needs to be randomized. It randomizes. It tells you, you have this, and goes through and sets everything up on the computer. And obviously, I'm not fully in the field, so it's very, very basic, but just enough to get my hands dirty and get in there and do something with it. I don't know if I actually answered your question there, but I ramble.
It's all right, Will. So do you have any last thoughts to share with the audience?
No. Really, I would think the only thing I would have left to say is the same thing that I think your podcast says to everyone on the whole is, to pursue your dreams. And don't be afraid to really go all in and really try and make what you want to do come true. Because quitting a job I've been at for 10 years and leaving what would one day be a pension and retirement and leaving all of that behind for something that I'm not even sure that could be there in the future, but I'm sure it will be, but may or may not, it may not pan out. And then I left my career for it. But I think I would rather try this and fail than stay at somewhere where I'm not happy for the rest of my life. Because I could sit there and say, hey, I'm 10 years in, I would only have 15 years left. It's not like I get to the end of life and say, I want to start over. I only have right here and now. I'm not getting younger. I can't sit here and say, hey, I want to go back and do my 20s back at school. It's not going to happen. You're only going to get older, and your dreams are just going to get harder and harder to start at, because you're going to get stuck in a rut. You're going to get comfortable where you are, and it's going to be harder to get out of that comfort zone. And really, you just have to push yourself and experience stuff outside your comfort zone. And I'm rambling again, so I'm just going to give this back to you.
Will, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Man, I could really go dirty with that. Oddly enough, I've taken some time off from social media, so I actually don't have anything of my own to plug. The only thing I would even have remotely to plug is your CD, in fact. So, I mean, if you want to take a few moments to kind of talk about that, other than that, I really don't have anything.
Wow. All right. Thank you for that, Will. Yeah, Adventuratorium, it's Disney music at its finest, matched up with classic hip-hop instrumentals to the story of Up. And the CD is $10 plus $3 shipping. You can order it right at adventuratorium.com. $2.50 of every order goes to Give Kids the World. It's a fantastic organization that brings kids and their families with life-threatening illnesses down to Central Florida so that they can experience all the magic of Universal and SeaWorld and Disney World and just forget about all their doctor's appointments and medications and just be kids. And they get to eat ice cream for breakfast and they have parties every night, and it's really a wonderful organization that accepts any and all volunteers, and they're very fiscally responsible. I can't say enough good about them, and the project just was designed to help support them. So thank you very much for all that, Will.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being on the show.
I wish I could have ice cream for breakfast.
Well, you're old enough to do that now.
No. Sadly, now that I'm old enough, my stomach can't handle it, so too old to do it now.
Yeah, it's tough getting old.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you again so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and I'd love to have you on again at some point.
Thank you for having me. I'll come back anytime you need me.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Dreamers Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Dreamers Podcast. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/Dreamers Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the Dreamers Podcast, please send an email to j@jpar.co. This podcast is copyright 2014 by jpar.co.
Make it official there.